our last math lesson of this week. So moving on to something a little bit different today, still on place value, but not number lines. Happy 1st of May as well. Okay, let's get going. So today we are comparing objects, okay? So this could be anything from a pictorial representation, like on this one where we've got the Lego building bricks, or it could be something like base 10 or place value counters, just in case you wonder what I meant by objects. Okay, let's get going. So, number 1, Dora and Ron each have some building bricks. So that's how much Dora has, that's how much Ron has. Now to write that down on your piece of paper, just put how much Dora has and how much Ron has, so that we can get to the next part of our question. Okay, so you should have written down how much each of them have. If not, go back and just double check. So how many bricks does Dora have? So Dora has how many bricks? How many does Ron have? That's A and B. Should have already answered that one. So who has the greatest number of bricks? So for this one, you need to write the sentence with the name has the greatest number of bricks. And how do you know? So write a little explanation of how you know. So you might tell me about, you know, because there is a larger number in a certain digit column. So is there more hundreds or more tens or more ones? So explain how you know which one is the greater number. Okay, let's move on to our next question then. Make sure you're pausing after each picture comes on the screen so that you can have some time to actually do this. Okay, question 2. So tick the greatest number in each pair. Now, a little bit tricky when you don't have this in front of you, so you might want to draw it or you might want to write the numbers. So for the first one, you might want to look at how many hundreds, tens and ones you've got and write that number down, and then tick or circle whichever one is bigger, or you could just write down which is the biggest number. Again, same for B. So you've got some place value, they've got a place value chart there, as well as your base 10. So have a look, which one do you think is the greatest number? Okay, let's move on to our next question then. So same thing again. Which one is the greatest number? So is it our first table here in C, or is it our second table in C? So again, you could either write the number, you could draw it out, however you want to answer this one, obviously, because we don't have the sheet in front of you. So which one is the greatest? Okay, off we go to the next question then. So number 3, Esther makes a number using base 10. So that's Esther's number there. So you might want to write down what Esther's number is. So how many hundreds has she put? How many tens? How many ones? Then Amir also makes a number. Amir says that my number has 500 blocks and some tens and ones. Keep that in your head. It's got 500s and some tens and ones. So you might want to draw down 500s. If I'm doing it, you might want to draw. I know that Amir has got at least 500s. Okay, let's have a look. So, whose number is greater? Circle your answer. So if we go back, and we know what Esther has, we know that Amir has got at least 500 blocks and some tens and ones. So whose would be greater? Would it be Esther, Amir, or is that something that you can't work out? Because we don't know all of Amir's number. Can you work this out or not? What do you think? So explain how you know. So you would say something like, I think that, and put their name or that you can't tell is correct or is greater because, and tell me how you know. So talk about how many tens and ones maybe, talk about how many hundreds, explain your answer using the numbers that you've been given. Okie dokie, let's move on to our next one then. So number 4. So for this one then, so we've got use 8 pieces of base 10 to make a number. So we're going to draw, as we usually do. So for my next question, so this is number 4. So I'm going to use 8 pieces of base 10. Now, there's loads and loads of ways I could do this. I could do it really, really simply. And I could just draw 8 ones. So that could be one answer. Draw my 8 ones there on this one. So I could draw 8 ones. or I could draw 8 tens, or I could draw 8 hundreds, or I could get a little bit more tricky and I could draw some of each value. So I could draw some hundreds, some tens, some ones. So there's lots of different answers you could have for this one. You only need to do one, but if you want, you can try and find as many as you like. Maybe not all of them because you'll probably be there all day. But that could be a challenge you set yourself. Who knows? So just using 8 different base 10s. So I have 100 tens or ones. Okay. Right, let's move on to our next question then. So, write greater than, less than, or equal to compare the numbers. So for A, which of these two is greater? So which one will be the greater one? So remember that the open side, let's draw it to remind ourselves. So the open side is where the bigger number goes. So if I had, so here for this one, no, it's backwards, I apologise. 10 is greater than 2. Okay, 2 is the smaller number, so it goes at the closed end. The bigger number goes at the open end. Okay, I apologise for that being backwards. Hadn't thought of that. So, which one is greater between those numbers? We're pretty good at this, so it shouldn't take you too long. Okay, number 6 then. So draw 3 more counters to make the statement correct. Now, have a look at your first table. So in this one, what number do you have? First thing you should do is write down the number that you have in this table. Now, we need to make this table greater than this one. So we need to use 3 and only 3 counters to do that. Now, there's a few different ways you can do this. So you might want to have a couple of goes. Now, when I worked this out, I drew this place value chart here. I drew that using a pen. And then I worked out my answers by using a pencil, putting in my 3 counters, writing down the number that I got, and then rubbing out the counters that I'd drawn onto my table, and then writing on a couple more counters and keep them going like that. So I'd write them on, see what number I got, write it down, rub them out, and do it again. So that's one way to do it. Or you could just draw lots of tables. Doesn't matter, however you want to. You might be able to do it in your head, but there's lots of strategies that you can use to solve this one. Okay, so whatever works for you. So all you're doing is drawing 3 counters onto this one to make the statement correct. So you're going to add a counter into some columns. You could put them all into the same one or different ones. Work out which one, so long as your number is bigger than this number. Okay, we'll have a look at the different answers at the end. Number 7. Annie uses 10 counters to make a number greater than 600 but less than 700. So what number could Annie have made? Can you find all the possible answers? So it's got to be more than 600 but less than 700. So by that, I know that all of the numbers that I possibly could come up with will always start with a 6 because it has to be in the 600s. So that's your first digit sorted, and now you just need to figure out all the other digits, your 10s and your 1s. Okay? So work out all your possible answers that you could use with 10 counters. So you might want to draw your place value chart because that will make it easier. Because remember, 6 of those counters are already in your hundreds column. So how many do you have left to work with? Okay. Right. Short lesson today. So we're moving on to our answers. So if you haven't finished, remember, pause, go back to which one you need to work on. If you're not sure, if you're stuck, just go back, have another try before you come and have a look at our answers. Okay, let's go. So for question number 1, Dora has 462 bricks. Ron has 526 bricks. Ron has the greatest number of bricks because he has more hundreds, quite simply. Okay, doesn't matter about the 10s and 1s if the hundreds are bigger. So for number 2, we've got 512, 720, 528, and 300. That's the one way you should have been ticking. Or circling the greatest number. So Amir's number is greater. 500 is greater than 300, so Amir's number must be bigger. Now, it doesn't matter what the other number was, because we know Amir has got 500s, and we can draw that. We know he's got more hundreds than the other number, so it doesn't matter about the 10s and 1s. He's got more hundreds, and that's the greater value. Okay, number 4 then. So there are lots of different answers for this one, as we said. So all are correct if you've drawn 8 pieces of base 10. So like I said, you could have done 8 hundreds and that would be fine. You could have done 8 tens on their own or 8 ones. Or you could have done 4 hundreds, 2 tens, 2 ones. Or you could have done 100 and then split the other 8 base 10 between the other ones. Okay, so you just work out how you need to split it up so that you're using only 8 pieces of base 10 to make a number. Okay, so there are your greater than and less than symbols. And then your answers for number 6 are 525 or 606 or 615 or 705. So they're all the answers you could have got for that one. Let's see if we add our counters on. Okay, and the numbers that Annie could have made, again, they had to be more than 600 but less than 700 using those counters. So she's put 6 into 100, so she's got 4 counters left, so she could put all of them in the ones column. She could put 3 in the ones column and 1 in the tens column, 2 in the ones column, 2 in the tens column, 1 in the ones column, 3 in the tens column, and then none in the ones column and 4 in the tens. So there are your answers. Hopefully you got most of those correct. I don't think it's particularly tricky today, just quite a bit of drawing for some of those questions, which is nothing that we don't do quite a lot in school, so you should be pretty comfortable with that by now. Right then, so well done for joining in with our maths lessons this week. I know we've covered some things that we have found tricky in the past and quite a lot of questions going on this week. I want to say a special well done to those of you that are logging into Times Table Rockstars. I'm really, really impressed to see some people logging on nearly every day. I know Noah's been on it a lot this week. Tyler's been showing up a lot this week. It's been fantastic to see that you are logging in nearly every day. So well done, guys. If you haven't been logging in, please do try. It's great to see that you are having a go and getting better, and it will help you massively with our maths lessons as we go on. So don't forget to share your work with myself and Miss Lofthouse. As you know, email or Twitter, either way we will see them. And it's lovely to know what you get up to and see if we can offer you any help at all if you do get stuck. So have a lovely weekend, stay safe, and I'll see you all next week for some more maths. Bye.